the whole thing we're exploring here is like radical freedom internally. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people normalize not having freedom because you can go through life and avoid all the traumas. It's like trauma, go this way, trauma, this way, trauma, this way. And you're like a pinball, like you're like a pinball in a pinball machine, just like getting just
Mm-hmm.
reactively put everywhere. You can't forge the path that feels most expansive because every time you hit a trigger, you avoid it. And you're actually living this really contracted, shut off, small opportunity life that doesn't give you infinite possibility. But when you start going through each trigger one by one, and you feel that kind of trauma, or even a subtle, just like, I'm in fight or flight because I want to ask my friend where we should go for dinner, and I'm just scared to ask the question, that fight or flight that come up is like a fear of rejection from when you're younger. And if you don't tackle it, you can't even have conversations. You're blocked off from so many possibilities in your life. So just knowing that, hang on a second, I've got the ability to work through this shit that gives me the ability to be free in what I want to do. That in itself is like a really important point to consider. And from a
Mm-hmm.
business perspective, it means that you're so much more powerful, so to speak, or able to grow because you don't just go in and take action based upon what feels comfortable, which is not going to
Yeah.
get you very far in business.
I mean, all of this stuff just translates to every relationship we have, whether it's a family member, a best friend, a lover, or our team members or business partners or clients. Like, if we're not healing our wounding, those triggers come up in all of those relationships as well. And then we're trapped in our cycles just everywhere in our life. And
Yeah.
exactly what you said, like freedom is to do this healing and to be in radical truth with yourself is the most freest thing you can ever do. And it's like, I mean, the work never ends. Like, this stuff is infinite. The layers are infinite. Like, some of the stuff I'm moving through now is like these like deeper, finer layers of my abandonment wounding. Like, I'm working through some stuff with asthma. I had asthma as a child and I healed it. Like, after I did ayahuasca last year, I had this dream and I kind of like
Did you do that
understood.
through the mastermind, Aubrey Marcus's
I
mastermind, or just
I
through a
did it
connection?
at Soltara in Costa Rica, which
Yeah.
the owner of Soltara is a member of the Fit for Service, Dan Cleland, I think it is.
Cool.
Cleland, yeah. Soltara is amazing. I've been there twice now for 2-week-long ayahuasca retreats.
Wow.
But yeah, I healed after my first ayahuasca. I understood that my asthma was a response in my childhood to the feelings of abandonment, and it was a way for me to get what I considered to be unconditional love. And so, I'd
It's
lent
really
on it
powerful.
unconsciously as a child,
Mm.
knowing that if I had an asthma attack, everyone would drop everything and take me to the hospital. And I didn't know this. It was totally unconscious. I was just like everybody else, believing that our physical bodies have illnesses that are just random or sometimes genetic, which I really question all of that stuff now. Like, I'm going deep with this. Our bodies are fucking amazing compass for the inner work and the healing and the expansion that we can do.
Yeah.
So I'm at the point now where the asthma is largely gone. I'm not on any medication anymore.
Wow.
And that's been over a year. And I was taking a steroid inhaler every single day my whole life.
Holy
I'm
crap.
39 years old. So yeah, up until from 2 years old to 37-ish, 38, I've been taking a steroid inhaler every single day. And I had this dream after ayahuasca. I was journaling one day and it all just came out. Like, this was your childhood wounding. This was to do with your needing love and your way to get love. And I was like, oh my goodness, could this be real? Like, it blew my own mind. And then I realized I hadn't had my medication for like 4 days. And I was like, huh. Usually around that point, if I'd ever run out before and like tried to push my limit before I got my script filled, like 3-4 days, I would start getting really sick again. And I was like, I'm just going to keep going. And I just kept going. It's been a year.
Wow.
But in the last like 3-ish months, it's like shown up a couple of times again. And I'm working through one, I'm in a new relationship. So I'd been single for the whole of last year. So now I'm in a new relationship. So I'm opening myself up. I'm vulnerable to this potential abandonment or abandoning and all of that. And,
Wow.
a couple of things have come up with my ex-husband and stuff, things we've been working through. And like, it's been fascinating to watch me go into like an asthma attack essentially and be like, whoa, okay, what's happening? And
Yeah.
it's my body saying you've got some work to do here. And I feel like it's physical. I feel like I want to reach for my medication and I want to just cut those symptoms off. But
Mm.
what I've understood is those symptoms, and I mean, this is not medical advice, I'm purely sharing my experience, but those symptoms are my body screaming at me like, don't do this thing, or, you know, look into this further, or there's something here that you need to get to. Like, you are
Mhm.
not trapped. You might feel trapped, or you might feel scared, or you might feel a certain way, but that's not real. And what I've basically done, it's happened, I think 3 or 4 times now. I've just gone and sat and meditated and just sat with it until the point that finally I crack the nut and I'm like, that's the thing. And as soon as I find it, it's like everything opens up and it lifts.
Wow.
It's amazing.
And
And like,
it's so amazing. And everyone that does the work goes through equivalence in some way of this. It's not
yeah.
like it, because if you'd never been exposed to spirituality and you're listening, you'd just be like, what? That is so incredible. You're just sitting there. Coincidentally, you hadn't had your inhaler for 4 days. And then at the same time, you just had this random like thoughts come into your mind of, oh, this was a way of me doing this and this. Like when I was younger, to feel like everyone would come around and make me feel loved and supported and safe and nurtured. That's why I was having the asthma attacks. So that just come out of the blue is just crazy. But
Mm-hmm.
it's just, it
Well,
happens
and the
to
more, yeah,
everyone.
the more connected you are, the more aligned you are, like you have room for these downloads to come through.
Yeah.
But and I'm sharing it because it happened this morning. It's top of mind for me. And
Mm,
it's a head game. Like, it is the toughest mental work I've ever done in my life. Like, I have run ultra marathons, I've grown companies, I've been 5 years in court cases, I have done so much compartmentalizing and mental strength and toughness. This work is the hardest work because I've been conditioned my entire life that I have a physical illness that is random and occurred to me, and I need medication to treat it, and there's no other
yeah.
way. And every single time it happens, I'm like, oh, are you crazy? Do you just need to go to the hospital? Or are you going to sit here and find your way through this by digging into your inner world? And like,
Yeah.
every time, like, just, you can do this, Sarah, like, just be strong. But, you know, today I like, once I got through it all, I went for a big like hour-long walk and I just went and sat in a cafe and just contemplated. And I shed a few tears because I was like, damn, this is like the hardest work. You
Mm.
know, this is really, it's really challenging me.
And to bring it back, it's like the reason why this work's being done is because without working through this, as like every trigger that comes up is a part of you that you haven't learned to unconditionally love yet. You
Mm-hmm.
haven't been able to feel unconditionally loved while this current trigger is still existing. Because every time it comes up, it's showing you, hey, look, and anytime you get in this scenario, you feel really unsafe, you feel really out of control, and you can't just show up free, light, grounded, casual. So it's a big block. And there's like,
Mm-hmm.
maybe you experience it subtly 50 times a week without even realizing it. It's dictating your action. And so it's like doing the work's benefit, or the reason that we do this stuff, is because once you've worked through it, you're free from that.
You're free of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's like, I
The
think it's
thing that,
a good, important reminder.
sorry for cutting you off.
No, jump in.
um, yeah, like the thing that I was working through this morning is this pattern that I have of feeling responsible for somebody else's experience, for somebody else's emotions, and then trying to soften the blow, or like, you know, smooth out my words so that it doesn't feel so bad or whatever. And, you know, that's often with my romantic partners or whoever it is, like just not wanting to hurt them or upset them or trigger them. Also, on the other side of that pattern is giving over responsibility from my experience to my partners, which turns into like expectation and, you know,
You
they
have
should
that
be a
for them?
certain way.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I've had both, you know, and I can
Yeah.
look with friends, like friends should be a certain way, friends should do this. And then, you know, being on the other side of that where a friend wants me to be something and I didn't do it and now they're upset. And, you know, what I'm really getting to you know, the acorn of, I guess, in the
These
past
nut
few
metaphors, these
days,
nut
this nut, yeah.
symbology, these nuts keep
What
coming up.
what I've been getting to these past days is just really deeply letting go of that idea that anybody else's experience is my responsibility. It's not. Even if something I
Mm,
did cause them pain,
yeah.
like I did my best, you know. I
Yes.
never wake up ever and think I'm going to be a fucking asshole today. Like every day of my life, I've shown up and done my best. Sometimes my best was shitty because of
Mm,
all of my own stuff and because of where I was at and what I did or didn't know at the time. But like, I just need to forgive myself and trust that our souls journeyed together to have that experience, and they're having their experience and they're growing through it, and I'm having my experience and I'm growing through it. And like conceptually, I know that, but like really doing the healing work inside me to let go, truly let go of this idea that I have any control over anybody else. Like
yeah.
my only work is to show up as clear as I can be in myself, in my truth, in my alignment, in my authenticity.
Yeah. And it's going to be very immersive, this work. This
Mm-hmm.
work of unraveling your triggers and learning to love yourself unconditionally. And